Hello and welcome to JoyRide with your hosts, the metaphysical moms, Tiffany and Carrie. JoyRide takes you on a spin through all things spiritual and soulful, including holistic healing, energy work, and personal development. Now, here are your hosts, Tiffany and Carrie.
Hi, everybody. It's Tiffany.
And it's Carrie.
And welcome to another JoyRide show this week. How's everybody?
Oh, man. Well, I as you know, you stopped by and picked me up, and I was in the middle of a raging fit with my children.
We had a moment. It's another AFGO.
It was another AFGO. It is, oh, man, I tell you. I have 3 boys, as you guys know, and it is, Xbox is letting people into the house, and I prefer not to have video gaming at all, but, 3 quote-unquote normal kids.
It's part of life.
It is.
Summer.
Until I have my 8-year-old say, "So, Mom, what's your Skype code? Because I have a friend that wants to Skype with me." And it's like, wait, what friend? Because I thought I had it completely locked down. Yeah. I thought I had everything locked down. And only friends and cousins and that kind of thing. And, oh, it's this kid, he's 12, and he really wants, he knows where we live and what Dad's up to. And I just had an absolute meltdown. So yes, we're good, but it's trying to manage all of these things.
Well, we are metaphysical mamas. We're trying to walk the walk, talk the talk, and it's a fine line. I was calling it a fine line, and you're like, F the fine line.
No, and it's funny because my head says one thing, and my heart is just like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not, You're just allowing people into your home, and you hear these stories, and of course, my brilliant, he really is smart, 8-year-old says, just quit watching the news. It's like, that does not solve the problem. I mean, how do I know this isn't a 19-year-old boy with a machine that turns his voice up? And I love what you said. You were like, but at least on Skype you can see him. I'm like, that's not, maybe at least we can verify that the kid's
real
12.
world stuff we're going through here. But today's show, and it is all about moms. We have our beautiful metaphysical mama friend back, Wendy Hutchinson. Hello.
Hello. So happy to be here.
And we wanted to continue the conversation that we had. We first had you on in May. It was show number 49, all about the Marconics energy healing that you do. Mm-hmm. And we just scratched the surface. We said, you must return, please. So we're back to talk about frequency and raising your vibration and how to apply it to real world things like this that are going on. And and we're all moms, and you've had a whole lot going on with your children.
Being a mom is such a journey. It's so painful and wonderful.
It is painful and joyful in the same moment,
all at once. And that's probably where I've had my absolute lowest moments.
is
in parenting.
Well, and the highest too,
and the
right?
highest too. But there's moments when I was not walking my soul path, let's say, when I was going deep into anger, and it was not pretty.
That's what we call those AFGOs, another effing growth opportunity.
Yeah,
when you get into those not pretty
right.
moments that we all have. Don't we all? Join the club.
Yeah, but it is, those are your kids, and I do not feel like they are mine. I feel like they were trusted to me. Mm-hmm. And they're mine to water and grow and then send out into this world and hopefully be good daddies and husbands and whatever they decide to become but they show you everything. I mean, you have to look at the way your parents were with you, because of course you want to funnel that down to them. I mean, there's just so much and it's beauty. It's beauty up here, and it's way down there.
You can go deep.
It can go deep. I can't wait to get into all this. I do want to do a quick shout out. Hello to our friends that are joining us on Facebook. I could speak today. We've got Leslie Ann, Doris, and Jean. Hi, everybody. And I'm sure if you guys are moms out there, you can relate to what we're going to be talking about today on that front, but also all these different frequencies and the shift that we've been continuously talking about on a lot of our shows, the shift in energy and how important it is to keep your vibration high, even with all these situations that we're walking through.
Yeah. And
how to do that.
Definitely.
So excited you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, I know. Okay, I have to say though, but I have loved getting to know you, because there are people that come along in your life, and we love everyone. We really do. And everyone on the show, it's like a tribe, but you're a sister. I mean, I just love curling up on your couch and talking. But, okay, so tell me, though, what is the difference between frequency and vibration?
I think frequency and vibration are actually the same thing. And so what I really wanted to talk about today is why frequency is so important, and why when we're on different places in our soul journey, our frequency rises. So what I found on my journey personally is, as my frequency rises, my visceral experience and reality changes. Okay, so what I've explained to people is, it's like if you were to be listening to AM talk radio 24/7, that's your reality, right? AM talk radio. Then you have people who are listening to FM, satellite radio. Their experience is going to be a little bit different. So if you apply that to everyday life, that is what I can relate frequency to. So different frequencies correlate to different radio stations, so to speak. And so your reality is exactly where you are on that frequency. And the person listening to AM talk radio is not going to have a clue about, classic rock.
Right.
Their reality is different.
Or
so
country, where
and
everybody
they're all relevant, but if you want a more expanded view and to understand maybe where other people are coming from, you kind of have to know a little bit more of the spectrum. I would imagine.
You've got to go full spectrum, and so the reality for everybody is their truth, and it's their reality. But what people are failing to see is, as you ascend and you go into higher frequencies, you are attracting experiences and opportunities and vibrational energy at a different level. So your reality, it does change.
Yeah.
Your mind and consciousness expands, and that invites this whole realm of energy and possibility and opportunity that maybe somebody in a lower vibrational bandwidth is not going to be aware of, or see.
Not even witness it, or not even agree that it exists, because they don't experience it.
Because it's not their reality. Their reality is where they are.
Yeah. Right.
So I think we need to respect everybody and where they are on the journey. And what I found is people in a lower vibrational frequency are really quick to judge. You get a lot of judgment.
Well, and I think too, it's they want to. Okay, so I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying that her mom is really quick to judge, and she judges everybody around her. And I was thinking, I think that's to make her feel good, because she's not feeling good.
Exactly.
And it is sort of keeping, and it's sort of what you put out is what you get back also. I mean, that's just the whole law of attraction.
I think there's a lot of fear out there. We have a lot of fear frequencies, which are lower vibrational, and fear creates so much negativity. It creates jealousy, it creates anger, it creates behavior that is not of light and love. Right.
Well, fear, I love, someone said, or I read this, they said that fear is an infestation. I thought, that is a great way to put that, because it infests everything.
And the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Yeah,
exactly.
But we on our first show, we had a whole conversation about your journey through fear, and anger, and all the conflict that got you to this point.
I had a lot of issues with my older son not being compliant, and you can revisit show number, I think it was 49.
Yeah, back in May,
to hear that whole story. But yeah, it was really about, for me, my journey was about learning to surrender and accept and know that everybody has a path that they're walking. And our fear creates behaviors that want us to control the outcomes of those people, whether it's family members, our classic example, or friends. And we do it out of love and concern,
and control.
And control. And we end up really kind of stifling, I think, the growth process by doing that.
Well, it's your growth. It's not theirs.
Exactly.
Okay, so can you talk about what happened right after the show?
Oh,
last show?
Yes. So right after the show, my son was involved in a a horrible motorcycle accident. He ran a red light and T-boned an SUV, and he was kind of the loser in that. When that impact.
Dogfight, yeah.
So yeah, he actually ended up being completely laid out. He broke his pelvis. It kind of just cracked like an egg, like opened. So he broke his jaw in 3 places. He broke his arm and wrist in like 5 places. So he was completely incapacitated, and ended up, he couldn't walk for over 6 weeks. He had his jaw wired shut. So we had to bring him home and take care of him, and it was really tough, just tough emotionally.
Well, and you blogged the entire time.
Oh my
because
gosh, it was rough.
We were right there with you, and every couple of days you'd be like, "This is where we're at. Just help me love and light, love and light."
Oh my gosh, it was so much suffering for me. But then, our children are our greatest teachers, as you know. So every time there's a conflict or something really stressful that's coming up for you, it's an opportunity for us to grow as individuals. And there were just some moments where I was just in such deep suffering, watching him suffer, deep suffering, feeling isolated and not knowing what the outcome was going to be. I mean, I had to go to a place of gratitude. I just went so deep into gratitude every day to pull myself out of that suffering and to walk a path of love and thankfulness, and focus on being rather than knowing what the outcome's going to be or how long it's going to be, or it's tough.
And he healed. I mean, he healed freakishly fast.
Well, first of
I think
all,
I saw
you're
that
like,
Marconics.
okay, they've wired his pelvis, they've wired his jaw, he's all in a cast, and they've just sent him home. I was like, oh my gosh, they just sent him home with you?
I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God.
What do I do with this?
They don't give you a manual. They just kind of go, here's your wheelchair.
And then in
Good luck.
few weeks, you're like, he's up, he's walking around, he's playing his guitar.
Oh
Okay,
my
he's
gosh.
off with his girlfriend. He's packed up, he's gone. I was like, wait, what?
Literally
gone.
Literally gone.
He's
I think
gone.
he was so sick of being taken care of. He's just fiercely independent. And so literally he got the approval to walk on a Wednesday. And on a Thursday morning, I was actually on a business call. And I hear my door beeps when it opens and closes. And I'm like, what is all that beeping, And he runs up to my office and he's like, okay, Mom.
He runs up to my office.
He hobbled.
He crawled, whatever. He made it up to me.
But that's a miracle right there, right?
I know. I mean, he wasn't running. It was slow walking, I'm sure. But he's like, well, Mom, thanks. I'm on a call,
Thanks,
so I can't
Mom.
really. He gives me a hug. Thanks. I packed the car. I'm out. And I'm like, I think it had to happen that way because I would have flipped out.
Okay, how are you after just getting that call that you're because you said, oh my gosh, I just got the call that my son's laid out on the freeway.
I thought he was dead, and that was
to 6 weeks later. He's like,
horrible.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah,
I'm
bye.
good. See ya.
Bye, and everything that happened in between.
Oh my gosh,
it was a ride. But you know what I found that's been really helpful to me? A lot of people, when they have adversity in their lives, they really deep dive into it. I mean, they just hold on to it. They just get into it. They get angry. They want to be right. They want to win. And I don't. My philosophy is the complete opposite. So if you could envision being in the ocean and you're on a surfboard and these huge waves are coming and they're getting bigger and bigger, you could freak out, and go deep and get tossed and turned in the surf and eat sand. But I actually found that if I just stay on the board and I just kind of ride the wave, it's a lot easier to handle the intensity of the situation. So I really I was on that board a lot.
Well, and
riding
since
the
you're from
wave.
Hawaii, since you're from Hawaii, I can see you out there. And at your home, you've got beautiful pictures of the island. I can see you on your board riding those waves.
It was really
because they're powerful.
It was really
highs and lows too.
Definitely, and it was a really intense spiritual growth experience.
And
Isn't life a spiritual growth experience?
And if you allow it.
So how is he now? He's fine.
He's better. He's not 100%,
right?
But he's definitely mobile and he can drive, which is huge. Not quite back to work.
I saw him, and granted, I had not met him before this. He looked great. I mean, he looked great. He was heading out to lunch.
Is he still going to ride that motorcycle?
Probably.
Probably get back on that bike.
But then that's another thing about surrender.
I know. I'm
so
just
letting
not there
your
yet.
kids.
There's a fine line. I mean, you don't want your kids
Keep saying that. There's a fine line.
I hate that fine
You
line.
really don't want kids, shooting heroin in your bathroom and going "Hey, it's your ride."
Right.
You got to draw the line. But I'm saying in general, a lot of the things we get so worked up about. A lot of them, and I'm not discounting your situation. I think you have a right to feel that way. But I'm just saying.
My guys are still, and hers are too. They're still at that age where we're putting the information in.
Yeah.
And then at some point you say, okay, I've done what I can. Now you have to go out and use your stuff, our stuff,
which is where I'm at. My kids are 23 and 24.
Right. So you can't ground them. You can't. No.
You're just happy
God
if they show up for dinner, or call you.
But I had an experience just recently where my oldest son, he kind of told me that me getting mad at him because he'd done something that I felt was I was scared about or upset about. My anger or upsetness or worry toward him was what upset him way more, to where he was really having some issues because. And I don't feel like I get mad or upset at him that much, but when I do, wow, he takes that in internally, and that was more upsetting to him than anything he could have done, than anything that I was anyway. So,
isn't it interesting though? I mean, I just remember my parents would get mad at us, and you just felt horrible about it, and it's like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble, and I'm half laughing. I mean, and I'll say something to the boys, and they're like, oh, I can't believe I just got in trouble. It's like, really? That's getting in trouble? I mean. I'm thinking, I wasn't even serious about that. I mean, I really think that's kind of funny. And, I don't know. I mean, I think it all just looks so different.
We all survive
from different angles.
Just so you know.
Thank you. And thanks for sharing your story of, on this journey of parenting. There is no manual. And these things, these waves do come in.
I wish there had been one. I probably should write one.
But somebody else would have written it. That sort of that's advice.
Well,
from
I think
them.
it's unique to every individual, right?
Absolutely.
On both sides.
Because we're all on
the
our
dynamic
own
changes.
soul journey, and our children, our relatives, seem to be our biggest teachers.
Yeah,
man. They challenge us, man.
Yep.
It's rough.
So my kids, they wanted to know who was on the show, and I told them, they're like, oh, she brought us cookies and M&Ms. We love her.
You're good with the chocolate, aren't you?
I didn't bring anything today.
You bought them through their bellies.
We went to dinner the other night with the Walker family, and everybody wanted dessert, and I actually had a chocolate bar that you'd given me. It was yours. And I divided it up, and it was like, thank you, Wendy.
Oh, I'm glad it's still the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, awesome. It's gone now, but thank you. So I would love to talk about frequency. Oh, you want to say hi? Okay, so Karina and Doris and Stacy are joining us. Thank you, everybody, for saying hello this morning. Our JoyRiders out there and wherever you are in the world. We want you to know you're not alone on this journey. We're all going through this.
It feels like you're alone, but you're not alone. There's so many of us out there.
Mm-hmm. And you're a life coach.
I am a life coach.
Yes.
Call me.
Yeah, and she'll help you ride your own waves on the surfboard so you don't eat as much sand in life.
I'll take you back on the journey to your authentic self.
Yeah, and her website should be up on the feed, but it's Alinea Life Coaching, and I love that word, Alinea, because you said it's a new line in French.
In French, it means to go off the line. And so what happens is people get really fixated on their path and the story they're telling themselves, even if it's not true. Mm-hmm. And so what I do in my coaching work is I sit them down and allow them to actually shift their perspective about this story.
Try FM radio. Try satellite.
Go to satellite.
There's a whole other frequency you might like better.
It's incredible what can happen. And so the entire trajectory of their lives changes.
Just 1 degree.
Just by 1 or 2 degrees, kind of shifting your perspective makes such a huge difference. Mm-hmm. Because our experience is a direct correlation to the perspective and story we're telling ourselves about what's right in front of us.
Absolutely.
And it could be a total lie. You could be telling yourself you're fat your whole life and you're like a goddess. Mm-hmm. You don't even know it.
Right.
I mean, it's all so tied to a story, and then our behaviors and decisions all follow from that. Mm-hmm. So make sure that the story you're telling yourself is actually true.
Or one that you want to tell. I mean, wouldn't you prefer, instead of saying, oh my God, my butt's so big, wouldn't you love to say, ooh, wow, I've got curves like a goddess. I
Yeah.
mean, your walk
Embrace
was
the goddess.
strut. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of hide and shrink.
Exactly.
So I have to tell you, Marconics. I mean, look at all the flags on that.
Yeah, I'm glad you read the book.
Okay, so let's hold that up. This is Marconics, the Human Upgrade, Volume 1, the Clarion Call. And this is the practice that you...
That's
you're a
the energy
practitioner.
work
This is
that
the energy
I work in. And that is gives you a full background story on how Marconics came.
It's an in-depth story.
It's a pretty deep story.
And
I don't think anybody sets out in life and goes, I'm going to end up creating a whole new energy modality. It just
I did when I was about 4.
just
No, I'm
happened.
kidding. Yeah.
So I just think it's an incredible story, and having worked in the energy, it's so amazing. So I want to talk about something
Yes,
that
dive in.
and how Marconics is different from other current healing modalities. And I want to say that I'm not a representative of Marconics. I have to speak as a practitioner. I'm a level 3 practitioner, so I'm the most advanced practitioner you can be. I've had the most advanced training you can get in Marconics. You've both had it.
You're
the
gonna have
experience.
to share your, if you went cans a little bit, maybe.
She's like, no, it's some freaky,
Yeah.
freaky
Well, let me
shit
just
happen.
talk about the
Yeah,
frequency
you go first.
real quick.
I want her
So
to share.
basically, there's 3 different energy fields, axiotonal fields. Okay, it's called, in scientific terms, the unified field.
What is axiotonal?
So the axiotonals are, it's just the name for the energy grid.
Okay.
Okay, so we have axiotonal A, that's the individual. Auric fields are individual energy.
So when people who see auras,
They're
just
looking at
physically
your
around your human
axiotonal
body.
A grid.
axiotonal
Okay.
A.
Okay.
Axiotonal B is the Earth's energy. It's the lattice work grid for the crystalline grid, which is like the Earth's aura. Okay?
Okay.
Axiotonal C is the energy grid of the universe. So that would be space, galactic, out beyond Earth in the universe. So the difference with Marconics and say like a Reiki or something that's currently in existence is they are working in subsets of energy. So they are working in axiotonal A. Maybe some modalities are using axiotonal A and B. But Marconics is working as a full spectrum energy healing modality. So the energy is a lot more powerful. We can create space through the eighth chakra to allow in the no-touch energy session, and also we do it in the recalibration, but we allow the higher self for the client to actually integrate into the client, so that etheric energy of the higher self is allowed to come and integrate into the client. And what does that mean for the client? That means they are completely aligned. Their vibration is raised. In our no-touch healing, your vibration is raised above those fear frequencies, and it lasts for about 1 to 2 weeks, like a good vacation, where everything kind of goes right, where you can kind of handle the stress, where you can attract, because of your higher vibration, the people, opportunities, experiences that are a vibrational match. So things
that
kind
relaxed,
of look up.
easy,
Right, you're in the flow.
flowing
You're in the
state.
flow. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then your energy recalibrates down.
You
But
get back into the
you
life
can do
and the
a
stress.
no-touch.
Get worn down.
Yeah, you can do a no-touch through distance. So if you don't live in Houston, Texas, you can do a no-touch with me through distance. Also, through the recalibration and the no-touch, you are releasing a lot of karmic debris. And so sometimes people get on the table and they go, I feel like I'm floating. I'm like, yeah, your vibration is rising, so you are floating up. And they also say, I feel pressure. I feel a lot of pressure on different parts of my body, and that's the karmic debris being kind of sloughed off. So
when you talk about karmic debris, those are just past experiences and beliefs, and
those are
any
all
energy you're
the
holding
negative
on to.
energies that you've kind of created from the inception of your soul. I mean, it goes back
So it's not
to
just
the
this
very
lifetime.
beginning. Yeah.
across all your lifetimes.
Right. And so it's really important, if you want to move forward or raise your vibration and become the best version of yourself to release a lot of that karma you hold on to. So the earth is, this is a free will zone. Everybody gets to decide how they're going to live their lives.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when we make decisions from a fear-based place, usually the behavior, I'm going to say 100% of the time, the behavior is going to create some sort of karma, because you're reacting in anger. You're saying things that you probably shouldn't be saying to somebody. You're thinking things. You're jealous. You're fearful, so you're trying to control people. Or you're jealous, so you're spreading rumors or being unkind. That's all karmic stuff. That's all negative. It's heavy. It's lower vibrational, and it's creating more karma. You're not clearing karma. Our goal is to clear karma and to rise above, come back a little bit better than when we, once we pass in this life, to come back a little bit better or leave a little bit better.
Right.
But if we're continually locked into the fear frequencies and the density here and responding to life from that space, I don't know. I know we all have people in our lives that everything's a struggle.
Yes.
They're a victim.
Drama, struggle.
Everything's drama. Everything's happening to them. You cannot clear that karma because you're just creating so much.
Right. You're swimming in it. You're swimming round and round.
Yeah.
You know what, though? But
Eating sand.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
You're circling the drain.
Well, it is. So I had recently a thought pop in, and talking about the fear. I know that in my head, I thought, okay, if I do this thing, if we do this thing in a different town, then my children one day, the oldest one's 13, might be driving back and forth, and this particular freeway is really, really tough, and there are always these accidents. Oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't do it, because if I do that, then it was like
that's
this rabbit
exactly
trail
what I'm talking
instantly
about.
happened.
Yes.
I mean, it happened that fast. It's like, what if this is how that happens? What if this is how my child ends up in a car wreck? And it's like, whoa, Nellie, bring that back.
Right.
It just is.
And you can go down that rabbit hole so deep.
And so fast.
Yes.
So fast.
And your
And I
body
caught
responds
myself.
to it. Yeah,
Yes.
you're all
It's like,
responsive.
I've already gone to the end of
talked
the
myself
road.
out of it.
Exactly.
'Cause
And
that one little thing might happen, and there's about 8 million positive things that could happen.
Infinite.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
focus on the positive.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so your son, her oldest son, this anxiety would creep up, and so he'd spend the night, and he always would hit like this certain time, which, by the way, I think it's sleep. I think when he gets too tired, it's hard for him to go to sleep too. So we tried it again. He's going out of town. He's going to China. He has all these great trips that are
Wow.
popping up.
That's exciting.
And so, but he has to be able to spend the night out, and he has before. I mean, this is just a recent thing. So I said, okay, here's the thing. Let's think about tomorrow. Sometimes when I'm afraid, I used to get afraid or become afraid that my children and my husband would get in the car and they would leave and wouldn't come home. And so finally I thought, okay, I'm just going to picture them coming home, telling me all about it, and that seems to work. And that's what I told him. It's like, instead of going to what's bad, let's go to tomorrow when we're making breakfast and you guys are playing and doing all this stuff. And he said that helped.
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Just change the picture in the mind. Change
Yeah,
that, reframe
yeah.
that station that you're listening to.
Yeah. Or get a Marconics energy session.
Get a
Well-
Marconics energy.
It is, seriously. I mean, now I've had 2 from you. I've had
Yes.
3, I guess. I've had the big adjustment, and then I've had the no touch, and it's dreamy. I mean, it is number one, to feel so. I don't know if I've told you this story from this end. So we're at our house, and you're wearing shorts and a tank top, and I'm in, I think, jeans and a tank top, and I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, I was freezing, and I just remembered my bag was on the first floor, and so I thought, fine. So I just sort of curl into the chair, and you look at me and you said, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go. So you and I go up to the 3rd floor and we start it. And that's when I knew they were there, because I
Yes.
think when spirit or whoever is there, it gets really cold.
The guides.
The guides.
The guides come in.
Yeah.
Your guides, my guides. They're galactic, and they come from an environment that's, I guess, very cold, because whenever
bring
we
that
do,
cool
they
energy
bring
in,
that
yeah.
that cool temperature whenever we work
I wonder what that
together.
is, though. But you're sweaty. I mean, you're like...
Well, the energy is like flowing through me. So a lot of times I'm just sweating, depending on who's on the table and what's happening. And everybody's experience is so different. I have people who just completely fall asleep. But sometimes really deep healing occurs when someone's sleeping.
And
Kind
it's
of
almost
shuts
like
off
you
that
let it...
conscious, rational brain.
It's almost might be too much for them if they were conscious and aware of what was happening. So a lot of times they're just put to sleep, or maybe they couldn't handle a visceral and visual experience that somebody who's maybe done a lot of meditation or soul work has done. So the experiences are so varied but so powerful. So
All right.
maybe you want to talk about
Y'all are both looking at me like, okay, it's time. So I wasn't, because this sounds so crazy, and I love the way you say this, because you say galactic beings. And so recently I had to sort of shift my paradigm from religion, that type of thing, which I've always kind of had. And then
Well, people could call galactic beings spirit. Angels. I mean, it's really semantics. Right?
Well, it is and it's not, because
that's
because I was talking to Emmanuel, our friend, and she's like, yeah, that's, when you phrase it like that's tough. That's tough. And she's so open. So, so I was on the table. You're like, okay, they're here. Let's go. You've got a whole crowd here. And what I saw was, it's like I unzipped from the front and from the back, and I just unzipped, and it's like the Carrie skin suit went chook like a banana, sort of fell apart. And then, and this big blue, like almost like wearing a size 0 Spanx, and
take it off,
and you're really like a size 18, and then it's like, I flew up.
The full expression of you was unleashed.
Blue and long hair and really tall, and they basically, they came in and they plugged me in from each point. I don't know if they were the chakras or what they were, but they plugged me into the grid. And then in my head, it was like they had a swab, and they were just going around my
like cotton candy
cranium. Exactly, that's exactly what it was.
They're like, let's scrape out this debris in here.
Exactly. They said there's something wrong with your
Let's
wrong,
get
but
the
there's
spin going the other way or something.
Yeah, they were explaining to me. Number one, they were saying that Carrie is very real. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's very small, and what they showed me, there was this huge version, and Carrie is small, but she's very real, and that when you decide to. When you jump on the wheel and you decide to come here, you have to abide by the laws here. Gravity,
free will choice,
amnesia, all of these different things to experience. It's like going into a world, and if you really know who you are, you can't fully appreciate the world and gain what you're supposed to gain.
Right.
So they were showing me all of this, but they did say that my frequencies were a little wonky, and so I think that's what they were doing. But what was really cool is where each of the spots were, there was energy bands like going around each of them, and then one going around the whole body this way. So I don't know what that was about, but it was amazing. And all I recall, because really, and I kept hearing the same word over and over and over again.
Yeah, that you had to look up.
Morphogenetics.
Right. No, amorphic,
something like that. So we went back and we looked it up.
Morphogenetics.
It means human-like. Isn't that cool? Human-like. And that was not a word I'd ever used or heard.
Morphogenetics.
Morphogenetics. And they've done that one more time with her son. I was talking to her youngest son. I kept hearing this word over and over again, and so I went and I looked it up, and it's sort of related. Do you remember when I sent you that text?
Yeah, it was. My son has an immune issue or genetic issue, and it was a medication that I had heard of, and you just said, I just keep hearing it when I'm talking to him. So we looked it up. We'll see. I haven't researched to see if that's a viable option or not.
Interesting.
That'd be cool if it is.
I mean, it keeps hearing these. Well, it was something about when the immune system starts to attack itself. It can
I'm writing it down so that was just. It was like one of those things late at night. Like, oh yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. So that was. But during that, I just felt.
And this is a no-touch session.
Yeah,
that she had as a 45-minute
and I
interaction.
When you put your hands on my shoulders, it always it's like whoosh. Whoa, what is that? So what was really cool with that is how incredibly homesick I felt. So they towards the end, I just started crying, and it was almost, I had this feeling that my parents had, that they came to school to see me, and that then they had to leave, and it was like, oh, I want to go with you. I forget how homesick I am, because I don't feel that way. I don't feel alone. I don't feel homesick, and so that was really an incredible experience. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful.
Everything happens exactly as it needs to for the person.
But you're creating the time and space and being a lightning rod to bring this energy in.
I'm the channel of the energy. I allow it to connect, and I love that I can create space for those types of things to happen.
And how does it benefit you to have that energy flow, to be connected?
I love it. It feels so good. I receive it as it's coming through me, and I'm passing it through to the person on the table.
Now, can you channel it for yourself, like as an energy session, or do you have other Marconics practitioners?
We do trades. I can do Marconics on myself.
Don't you find it hard, though? I mean, I know that Michelle was saying, she said, I don't let really anybody into my energy.
I am really careful about who touches my energy. I'm just really, it's just a personal thing. I'm really protective of my energy.
Sure.
Because somebody's actually connecting to you.
Yeah.
And tapping into you. And I just feel...
kind of like sex.
Kind of.
Well, it's intimate.
Energy sex.
It's energy sex. Yeah, I'm just very careful about who touches my energy.
Okay, but like when you were going through this latest
when I went through this thing with my son, I did call a friend, and I was like, I'm dying over here.
But did you find that helps? That's your therapy. That's your walking through it. That's keeping your energy aligned as much as possible.
But also I have spiritual practices that I follow too. Marconics is definitely one of them. It grounds me. It brings me just a feeling of completeness.
Yeah.
That I can't.
Do you want to share any of your other practices?
Oh, would you talk about the grounding?
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Definitely when we do the recalibration in particular, we basically plug you into the matrix, so to speak, the crystalline grid. So your vibration is permanently high. And what's so interesting about it is because you're vibrating so high, it's almost like if you're daydreaming all the time, you're kind of up there. So it's really important to be grounded. And I think even anybody who has a spiritual practice of meditation or anything like that, people in general should really be more mindful of being grounded. So there's so many different ways to do that. You can walk barefoot outside, be out in nature. That's huge. You can eat root vegetables, or there's a lot of different ways to ground. I actually create a golden energy ball kind of in my midsection, and I send it up to the crystalline grid and just anchor there and call an archangel in and connect with him and ride all the way back down into the earth, all the way through all of the earth's substrata into the iron core, and anchor that golden energy 3 times around the iron core and come back up. So I'm completely anchored, celestially to the core of the earth.
I love that. I do that too. I feel like I'm plugged in.
Wrong.
Plugged in from above and below.
I was doing it wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I ride.
I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
the intention.
Feels good to you.
If your intention's there, it's gonna happen. So there's
I
no
love
right
it
or wrong.
it's so easy and fast, because if it's too long, I fall asleep, or I
do
get
that
distracted.
At least 3 times a day. I do it before every client I work on too.
Reconnect.
Yes.
Just
I just
consciously
anchor and protect, and
Well,
it's
that's
important.
I love that about this Marconics.
Yeah.
Is that it is. I love what you say, is that it brings the energy to the earth, and it allows Mama Earth to get it also to heal.
Yes.
And you're anchoring it.
The earth has been so dishonored, and is in a place where the earth is a living, breathing organism.
Absolutely.
It supports humanity. People don't really appreciate that. And she has been so dishonored with atomic and nuclear weapons, pollution, the incredible mining of all the Earth's resources. We have not honored her at all. And she can't, heal herself anymore. So another benefit to the Marconics energy is it's bringing powerful healing energy down to the earth as well. So every person who gets a recalibration becomes an anchor of light for the earth.
And we're hearing more and more about these waves of energy that are coming to the earth. The frequency of the earth and of the grid is changing.
The frequencies are rising, and humanity needs to evolve and raise their frequency.
Or else you can't live in that frequency. Right. It just doesn't resonate with you.
It won't resonate. And so it's really important that people stop comparing themselves, stop trying so hard. People need to really start to go in.
Connect
inward,
with nature.
Connect with their soul, connect with their truth, live from a heart space instead of that space of lack and disconnection. Because we're all connected. Humanity is connected. We are all walking the same path. Nobody is better. No, there's no winner or loser here.
Yeah.
Because you have more money, that doesn't mean you win.
And you are enough. Just who you are
enough. You
and
came
what you're
into this
doing.
world as enough.
As
perfect.
You cannot be enough, even if it feels like it. You cannot.
Right.
But they can't sell you. They cannot sell you enough stuff if you're enough. If there isn't a hole that has been, dug out, then they can't ask you to fill it with diets and creams and Botox and
clothes, fashion, cars,
and gyms.
But people
vacations.
have to realize that we are all worthy, and we all deserve to have the highest and best outcome for our lives, whatever that means to you. And we're all like threads in a tapestry. So without you, the tapestry is incomplete. So you all matter.
Everybody.
It's so important, every single person.
That's exactly right. And that is something that I think talking about the shift and and I think that looks different. I'm sorry, I just had a thought. Do you know that a lot of this altering energy that's coming to the earth is from the sun? There are these solar flares, and there are these, and I'm just starting to really learn about this, about what all is going on cosmically around us.
When I think, okay, so we're an Earth that's spinning around 24 hours, in one rotation, and then we're spinning around our sun 365 days, and then we're in a solar system that's traveling around the Milky Way, and we're traveling at thousands and thousands of miles
Which is only one
per
galaxy
hour.
of
That's one galaxy
zillions
within
out
this
there.
cosmos. We are traveling into so many different realms of energy and space.
Possibility, opportunity.
And we worry about the line on our bank account statement. It's not, high enough. And you think, oh my gosh, we are hurtling through space.
Or the bag under my
We are hurtling through space right now. We don't have to be in control of this gravitational pull and where we are in the world. It's all okay. It's all happening
exactly
with this greater
as it
force.
Needs to. And also people need to realize that it's okay just to focus on being, because so many people are trying and doing and achieving, and sometimes it's okay to come into stillness and just focus on being, because that's where you get a lot of truth and a lot of answers. A lot of people don't go there because they don't really want to hear the truth, I think.
But you know what, though? It is when you say to live through from a heart space, and I get what that means for me, but give examples of what that looks like or how people can do that, because that really is just...
I'll give you an example of living from a heart space. So I got some really hostile texts from a family member, and...
Don't you love that?
I got really angry. And living from a heart space to me was to not immediately respond and to think, okay, what is really driving her behavior? It's fear. It's not feeling enough. Maybe a little jealousy. I don't know. That's what I was picking up.
Yeah.
So living from a heart space was being compassionate in my response and saying, how about you just live in your lane and I'm just going to live in my lane, and I love you.
There's a soul train I don't know if you
Is
can
that
hear
like
our soul train.
validation?
Yes.
Like the
You
train?
live on your track, I live on my
It's
track.
exactly what I'm
It's
talking about. That
perfect.
was validation, right? So that's living from a heart space instead of lashing out and wanting to win this argument
Saying, "Bring
and
it."
convince somebody that what I'm doing
And it's right fighting,
is
right? Yeah.
I don't need to
I
do
like
that. I know who I am. I know what lane I'm in. I know what my life purpose is, which is to be here and do this work, to connect to people, raise their vibration, bring people through suffering.
I love that.
How did she handle, or how did that person
It
respond?
just,
diffused, hopefully.
just diffused.
I want to take a second here and say hi, our Facebook friends. Aninhas, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Good to listen to you again, Wendy. Is that a
she's
friend
so
of yours?
She's a Marconics practitioner.
Hello. There. See, if you don't have a
Hi,
Marconics
Claire.
practitioner in your neighborhood, if you're not in our neighborhood, look, because there are Marconics practitioners all over.
All over the place.
Corin Drake says, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Claire. That's how I met you. Was through
Hi, Claire. We love you.
And
We
Darla,
do
hi
love
Darla.
you. It's so fun to do these live. So if you have any questions for Wendy,
Yeah.
type them up. Get your fingers going.
I
so
would
that
love
we
to
can-
answer any questions. So.
because this is it's such an interesting topic, and it does look different for everybody. In fact, we have some friends that do the Shiny Show, and it's an internet YouTube interviews where medium Allison Allen will interview past, and they just did that one with Ma Baker, and so she was a notorious gangster.
Barker.
Ma Barker, yeah. Barker, notorious gangster, and she
must have been
came
amazing.
in so unapologetic for that life. She was a drug dealer, money wrangler, murderer, raised 4 boys to do the same. And she was completely unapologetic. She's like, my soul learned so much from that experience. And I stuck to that life. I wouldn't recommend it because it was very hard and difficult. But that's who I was going to be, and nobody was going to tell me
I think
different.
what we need to realize is people come into this life to have specific soul experiences, to
Yes.
learn certain things. And we have contracts, we have soul contracts, and agree before we're born into this life to show up for this person in this way so they can learn their lessons and you can learn yours. So we need to really separate from the judgment.
That's exactly where I was going with that, is that we come in saying lower vibration is not good, and we need, for them, that may be their soul's contract.
Yes.
You do you. You do you.
Right.
If you want to raise your vibration, you do you. And
Exactly.
quit trying to pry open third eyes
Yeah.
with a crowbar if they're not wanting to, or that wasn't their contract to do it.
Well, and maybe they're so advanced that they're saying, okay, I
They'll
can
take
handle
the
this.
hit, you
I'll
know,
take the
they'll-
hit.
they'll
I'll
be
play
the-
this role for you.
They'll
Right.
take the sacrifice. So who are we
to
Exactly.
to
judge.
say you're not ascending?
I think it might be. It's tricky when it's somebody close to, when it's a family member or
those
a partner or somebody, and you are attracted to them, and they have this whole different life. There's a reason that matched up too.
Exactly.
But you know what, though? I have to say, my family has been so supportive. Sherwin listens, my dad's wife, to every show. My mom, when she can, my brother. I mean, everybody has reached this place where they kind of scratch their head sometimes and say, yeah, wow, Carrie, y'all really went out there. But it is, but they support me, and it just is. And I'm not trying to
You're very
change.
lucky.
I am very lucky because they're not, they're not new age bent. But I think they're gifts, and I think everybody has these gifts that they kind of recognize in you, and I think that it just reminds folks that there is so much more going on.
Yeah.
And
I
just
wish people could just crack themselves open and see that they're capable of so much more.
Happiness.
Oh my gosh.
It's just happiness.
What if
Peace.
the whole point of life is to find joy? A lot of people are missing the boat.
Yes, we're trying to find money,
Yeah, or money, or suffering.
control, or something.
People love suffering. We need to separate from that.
It's Carrie loaned me this book, The Boy Who Knew Too Much. It's new. It's this young boy who his past life
that's gonna
was
be a
Lou
movie.
Gehrig, and he's this
Wow.
little baseball prodigy. And his mother, the whole book is about her journey of like, I'm a devout Christian. I'm in my box,
Boy, he
and I
rocked her
have
world.
my child
Seriously.
just saying this, and I cannot dispute the validation that you're telling me and the things that you're saying. And she just, in the book, she just did her past life regression, and she was his mother, Lou Gehrig's mother, in a past life.
You're kidding.
And she had,
Wow.
she's finally like, I believe you. I was your mother, and here we are. You found me again. To
Incredible.
simply enjoy the simple pleasures of life. We found each other again
That's
to
beautiful.
just
Gives me chills.
simply enjoy the good times together. That's the only reason we're here. And she's like, could it really be that simple? We're just here to...
It is.
I know. So I'm just
really
validating
is.
your point. It's coming at me in so many directions. Every movie I watch, every radio program, all new friends that I meet, it's all
Also,
validating.
people should really look for those synchronicities.
I love that.
Because once you look for them, you start finding them.
Yeah, when you look for synchronicities, they start showing up.
They really do.
Like you get a thought about something, and then you hear the word, or a book presents, or a friend talks to you about it. Those are synchronicities they're like breadcrumbs on a trail. You've got to follow those, because they take you, if you pay attention, they take you where you need to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the yellow brick road.
The
Wait, hold on. We have... Okay, I hope I'm not killing this. How would you say that?
That's Benoit. She sounds like a beautiful friend. She says hi. She's a new listener, Benoit.
And
Colt.
Nathan.
It's so
Freddie.
France has been popping up. Every time I do something, France is popping up. And I just started listening to Zaz, who's this beautiful French vocalist. I love her.
She sent that last night.
Awesome.
And then my brother-in-law was saying, I'm listening to this beautiful old French lady music. And I'm like, I'm
Is that
listening to
Edith
young
Piaf?
Yes, Edith Piaf.
Edith Piaf.
It's like it's coming at me like in one day. It's like bam, 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 bam. My friend texted me and she's like, bonjour. I'm like, okay, I'm in France.
Maybe you need to go to France.
Something's popping up, and we just went last summer.
It's one of my favorite places.
We
And
took the family. We took our kids over
That's
there
so
last
cool.
summer, and I'm like, we need to go again.
Ainsley McLeod was telling me that I've actually had some lives there, and I was a writer and apparently a graphic I can't say the word.
Novelist?
Thank you. And it was and we had but I didn't do so well. Apparently I didn't play well with others, like publishers, and I was dropped, and I think I died, poor.
Aw.
I know, but it was still, I really love it though. Gina,
Well,
your daughter's beautiful.
Yeah. So what's new? You are writing. You're also writing because you're writing articles.
I write articles for the Missing Piece
themissingpiecemagazine.com.
Yes.
And you said it just became a new free subscription, so you don't have to pay for it anymore.
It's free to everybody.
You're a great writer.
Thank you so much. I do blog on my website, and I write for the Missing Piece. My next article is being published in September.
What is it called?
I haven't titled it yet.
I love your
but
last
it's
one.
on-
Put the bitch back in the box.
Back in the box.
I haven't titled it yet, but it's on self-acceptance, which I think is or self-esteem, really.
It's
Isn't that
all the same,
thing?
right?
Yeah, I
Confidence,
think it's the same
self-esteem,
thing.
self-love.
But anyway, the Missing Piece magazine has writers that are all life coaches, and they write on all kinds of topics, just self-help. Gosh, if you're going through anything in life, get on there and get your free subscription. And every month you're given a code so you can go and download your magazine. It's based in the UK,
Okay.
and
And they're all life coaching?
UK.
UK.
No, I'm kidding.
You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Are you okay?
You okay? But they're all life coaches, so lots of just
great content. Yeah, and they have they
ways
have
to think
video
about
and
shifting.
interactive stuff. It's great. I love it.
And what's new in
So-
Marconics? What's coming up? And I know you said you've reached your third level of training, but is there?
Yeah, I think Marconics is always evolving.
Yeah.
So I think there's always going to be a further direction to go with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes as far as the strength of the energy. It seems to be growing. And let me say that it's because of the Earth's positioning that we're allowed to bring that Marconics energy in now.
Mm-hmm.
The Earth has not been in this galactic alignment in 26,000 years.
When you say galactic alignment,
I mean,
what-
just the positioning of where we are in the
in
universe.
space. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're flying through
in
space.
relation to all the other universes, planets.
Yeah.
So
Like
that,
a portal.
yeah, like a portal open, allowing that Marconics energy to come down. So it's really a gift and an honor. And I want to honor everyone else who's doing healing work or a light worker, because your work is so important. And I don't want anyone to look at Marconics or practitioners of Marconics as if we're saying we are better. This isn't a competition. This isn't a race. You know, we're all in our own lane helping humanity to the best
Right.
of our abilities. And I think we should all encourage and lift each other up and not be so quick to say, well, you're not, supporting what we do. You're
Is
off
there
this
that
list.
though? I mean, I don't
Absolutely.
feel that there's that. Is that
Well, we're
true?
equal opportunity here on JoyRide. We like to look at all
Yeah.
different modalities: acupuncture, EFT, Reiki,
Yeah.
crystal. We like to
I
look
think
at all of it.
it all
works.
serves a purpose and it all helps somebody.
Yes.
So I think everybody should honor the path that they're on and the contribution they're making to humanity.
And for a lot of people, just waking up, Marconics might be like a master's degree. Like, that's just too big. I might need to start with crystals and Reiki or yoga.
And
then
anybody
kind of,
can get a Marconics no-touch healing. That's actually gonna enhance the vibration of the energy of their work. This isn't a competition.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't think of that. You think of this being a field of just love and light. You don't think of people.
There's also humanity involved.
I know.
That whole humanitis.
You
that
think
factor.
people are walking a
thing.
spiritual path, but they're jealous or they're
Well,
not doing the soul work. They're putting all this spiritual stuff, these posts on Facebook, and then you're like, maybe you're not actually what you're presenting.
Or
that happens sometimes.
I still maintain that when you wake up, it's a twofold. You have to heal. You have to drop the baggage as you wake up. Otherwise, it because you're only as strong as you are clear, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so, I think a lot of times things, kind of filter down, and if that filter is a little bit clogged up, then it gets a little muddied sometimes. But it is. I was laughing this morning. She's like, breathe, just breathe. So in the car, she's like, start tapping, tap. Okay, now go through it.
I'm sure that
So-
helped, right?
Well, and she went all the way. I said, "What are you afraid of?" And it was, "Well, this
talking
is
about
going to
the
happen. This
Xbox
is
thing.
going to happen." And then we go all the way to the end of
to
that,
release that,
It's like,
you start releasing
and
that.
tap it. And I love that because
Yeah.
it does work on your energy and the way your
Yeah.
body responds. And we tapped it until you could get here, and you'll address it.
Well, Charlie, my oldest son said, "Okay, Mom, I think the problem was when you set up the new Xbox, you didn't put any parental controls on it." And it's like,
Because that just happened a couple days ago.
Whoops.
We're
You can
saying
fix that.
hi to Gina Seabolt. Hi, you are new to us.
Her
Welcome
daughter.
to
I was
our
thinking her
Joy
daughter. She's
Tribe.
so pretty.
And yes, you're very right. We're all both
Did
teachers
anybody
and
have a
students.
question?
Well,
No
she's just making the
questions?
comment. We're all teachers and students.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
We
which
are.
is so true.
Yeah.
we are.
And we're all doing the best we can,
Everybody is.
So when people are showing up for you and they're not,
Not me. I'm not. I'm
And they're
I'm
not-
waiting.
no,
I'm kidding.
showing up in the nicest way, we have to acknowledge,
Well, people only
They're
ever
doing the
do
best they
something
can.
because they think it's going to make them feel better to do that. Like, I'm doing this because that's going to make me feel better. I think that's the only reason we only ever do anything. I'm doing this because it's going to make me feel better. Like, I'm doing this because
Do I have a quizzical look on my
you
face?
do. Like,
well,
what? Well, just think about it. You only ever put yourself or want that thing because I think I'll feel better
Oh,
when
yeah.
I have it.
Well,
Or
sometimes I
have
think
to
people
stop
get
this.
stuck in the energy, the negative energy, or you have to stop this. I totally cut you off.
That's okay. That's all right. We're almost out of time. I don't want this to be
I
over.
know,
We're going to
so
have part
fast.
3
gosh,
because this is all about
I
raising
just love
your
talking with you guys.
frequency,
me
and
too.
we want to make this conversation just normal. This
Yeah.
is just part of the.
I would love to encourage people to stop being so limited in their perspective, limiting their view of themselves and what they're capable of. Because if you could break out of that limitation and fear, your life path will accelerate. It will blow up.
So Marconics healing can get you into that alignment so you can
Yes.
actually experience it
Yes.
and practice staying in that and holding that
in
energy.
that flow. If
Yeah.
you do a 45-minute no touch, you will be plugged into that for a couple of weeks. If you do the recalibration, where we remove 51% of your karma and permanently plug you into the matrix, you're dialed in. You
You
get
are-
to manifest and create your life.
Anything.
It's
And-
incredible.
Thank you for coming on.
Wait, I want to
Wendy.
say
Thanks for
Gina's
having me.
right. She said if you feel better first,
That's the
then
trick.
that's the trick,
Yes.
and that's where the no touch comes into.
Yes.
So
Thank you, everybody,
coming
for
on,
joining
and
us
thank you.
on JoyRide.
Thanks so much.
JoyRideShow.com. Go to the episode blog. It'll have all the links to everything we're talking about. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week.
Bye.
I see them blue for me and you. think to myself, what a wonderful